Good morning, everyone. Neil from Book Bowl here. How are you guys doing? And welcome to the weekly call. So we'll let everyone jump on here. This should be an exciting one. We are going to go over a lot of good information. So if you guys could just do me a huge favor, drop me a comment. Make sure, let me know that you can hear me or not, and we'll get started here. All right, looks like people are starting to come on, which is excellent. Jay Lang, I see your comment. So we will get to that. Can hear you great. Stephanie, good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you guys are in the world. Looks like we do have a bit of a lag in the stream, which is very normal for YouTube, but how are you guys doing? Brian did it. Glenda, May, Francisco, good morning. How are you guys doing today? Good. Sarah, hello. Awesome. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. Today's going to be a little bit different, okay? So we're still going to hold these calls like we do every single week. The goal is to get you over any humps you may be having in your KDP business that are hanging you up. But today's going to be an exciting one because we are going to go over the brand new designer that we have sort of officially launched inside of Book Bowl. I'm going to show you guys how to get there, how to use it. This is going to increase your workflow like 10x. Okay, so I've been using this for the past couple of months as we figure everything out. Lot easier to use, fixes a lot of the problems people have been asking me about on all of these live calls, especially for your design, and allows you to customize pretty much everything that you'd want. So I see people are starting to get in here, which is awesome. So Loretta, hello. Sarah, Washington State. How's the rain up there in Washington? I thought about moving there one time. Move to the desert instead. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions during any of this, we can drop those in the comments. I will go one by one, answer them to the best of my ability. If I miss them, just drop another one. Otherwise, we are going to go through what we just launched here. So if you're logged into Book Bowl, you're going to notice that this is the homepage. Now, I want you guys to follow along. Share this video, like this video, all the good stuff that, people on YouTube ask you to do. Really helps out the channel a lot. But that being said, we're going to go over the new designer. So if you log into Book Bowl here, you go to the Research tab, okay? And you're going to go to the Create tab, and you're going to click on the Book Bowl designer. This is going to open up the old designer. Now, we are going to phase this out, okay? So just so you guys are aware, this is the designer. This is going to be phased out. The reason for that is because we cobbled this together. We're not going to be supporting it in the future. You can still use it, but I'm telling you guys, what you want to do is head up here. You may have noticed this already. We just launched the Book Bowl Studio. So we spent literally like the last 18 months building this design program from the ground up. So if you are familiar with creating a cover or an interior in here, you've more than likely seen this page, paperback, hardcover. You can select from a drop-down menu, which is a cover or an interior. And so many times you're probably jumping back from this over to the interior wizard here, back and forth. You may have even heard me talk about, combining interiors over here. I get it. It's a bit of a pain. We have fixed all of that inside of the Book Bowl Studio. So start off by coming over here into the designer. So from Book Bowl, use the drop-down menu, create, go to the Book Bowl designer, which will open up this page. You can just close this out and click this big red button. Okay, guys, so follow along, click the big red button there. The Chick Vic, hi there, have a question about the designer. The new one is great, but it won't upload my cover. It just uploads blank. So if you're trying to upload an image inside of the new designer, which we're going to go over right now, make sure that it's not a PDF file, because when you convert things to PDFs, you want to just upload an image. So we'll go over that right now. Once you click this big red button that we tossed up here and didn't exactly announce, it's going to bring you over to the Book Bowl Studio. You're going to see something like this. Now, the studio is a lot different than the old designer in terms of how everything is put together. It's all done in one place. So you'll see the project type. You can pick from the paperback, Cover and interior, that's what we're going to be selecting for this one. That's going to allow you to work on the complete project and not jump back and forth. If you just want to create a cover, you'd select cover. If you just want to select an interior or create an interior, you select interior. Same goes for the hardcovers as well as custom sizes. So if you select custom size, you can see you can enter in anything you want there. But we're going to do a paperback cover and interior. I've already given it a name, Live Call. Trim size, all the KDP trim sizes are in here. 6x9, pretty standard, so we're going to go with that. And then the interior and paper type, again, everything in here very standard. I'm going to go with this one, and by default this is going to be bleed. Select bleed. I'm going to put in 100 pages, but this is going to depend on your research and your niche that you're going into. So I'm going to go ahead and click create project here, and this is what the new studio looks like. So right off the bat, you're going to see the cover. And remember how I said that everything is put together as one project. So you can work on the cover, and then here on the left side, you're going to see the complete project. All the way down, 100 pages of this. You have the cover, page 1, page 2, etc. Okay, so the first thing I want you guys to do and get familiar with here is that, yes, by default, we have the cover template here from Amazon. You can see this is 6x9. You can see the exact dimensions on here. But a lot of the time, people are looking at this and they're like, well, I don't actually want to see that. You can come up here to the cover template opacity. You can turn this down so you can sort of see what you're doing, or you can just completely hide it. So that's number one. Number two, if you come up here to settings, and notice how this is automatically going to save at certain intervals, or you can just hit the save button. These are no longer saved in your, cache on your computer. So if you come up here and you save things, you're going to be able to log into the studio on multiple computers and see your saved projects. That was a massive, massive request that we had, and that is now done. Now, if you come up here to settings, it's going to open up the guides and grid. Okay, so we've added object snaps in here, snap distance. Now, by default, this is what the default settings are going to be. The page edges are disabled. You can make them visible if you'd like. The page center, this is auto. By default, you can make it visible, disabled, as well as the KDP margins. And you can see here, if I save this, you'll see everything laid out correctly. Now if we come back into those settings, let's say I don't like those guide colors and I want to make them red. All right, there you go. Now they're red. But the big thing here that everyone's been asking for, I've even wanted this, which has taken us a little while to get there, are these grid lines. So you see the guideline colors here are purple. Okay, in order to actually add those to your page, you want to come down on the left menu. This is where all of your menu items are going to be. Okay, right here, these are the grid lines. Add vertical lines, add horizontal lines. Okay, and you can also just add a full grid. So if you add a grid, it's going to ask you for the column number. Now by default it's 4, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. The row number 4, and this is going to add all of these snap lines, which you can move around if you'd like. And notice how it just automatically saved there. I can select these and move them on my screen, zoom in, zoom out, fit this to the page. So give me a moment here. I'm going to change these. I can't stand that being red. We're going to restore that to default. All right, there we go. That looks a lot better. Now, once we have our cover here, I know that Jay Lang posted the first comment and is asking about purchasing pre-made coloring pages and how to modify them. Can that easily be done in the studio? I know we're on the cover page here, okay? So if I come back up here, this is the front cover. This is the back cover. I'm just going to hide that again so you guys can see this. If you want to add images, okay, you'd simply come over here, select your files menu, and you can see I have a few things in here, including my hilarious looking dog. You can upload any files you want, or you can just come over to Pixabay and, search for anything. So if I just type in dog, here are, 1.5 million different images. If you have your own image, you can simply upload that to the upload tab here, and you'll see the types of files that have been uploaded. So if you just upload an image, and I'm going to find one from my desktop here, which here's one, I can just simply drag it in there. and click it, and it will add it to, and you'll notice if I make this smaller, I'll zoom in a bit, it will snap to these, I don't know if you guys can tell that, but it will snap to the different lines that you have added as grid lines. Okay, so this is going to be super, super, super helpful for matching everything up. Now on the right side of the screen here, okay, you're going to see the object menu. Every time you add something to the page, to the cover, this is going to add it as an object. These objects can be grouped. You can click on these, you can rename them, you can lock them, you can hide them. So let's say you're doing a really complicated cover, you have like 15 different objects here. It's getting really hard to figure out what you're clicking and what you're not clicking. You can either lock that, and now notice I can't select that anymore. I can only select the different lines. So I've unlocked it, and now I can move it around. You can rename the layers, you can send them forward, send them backward, you can even hide them so then you don't see them anymore. But that is going to help you a ton when it comes to actually building out your covers here. And for example, I'm going to save this one. I already have one that's built a complete cover up here, so I can go to project, I can go to my projects, and this is going to be all the ones I have in my test account here. And if we go over here, you'll see this is the one that I just made, and I can access this via any computer. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to select this one, and you will notice I put together a book here. And here's a bunch of objects, right? So I mean, I have some that are hidden. I have some that, you know, I can select. Every single one of these is changeable inside of this studio interface. You see the background here. So pretty simplistic. Now, if you ever get stuck up here, there is a help menu. There are walkthrough bubbles, which you're going to see when you first log into the studio. You can always turn them off right here under the help settings, but it's going to go through step by step for each individual piece. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to my projects. I'm going to go back to the one we have that's completely blank. And for now, I'm going to remove those grid lines just so I can see. And let's see here. Let's say I make this big, right? Snap to the edge there. All right, that's good. You can also change the paper color. Okay, now I wouldn't change the paper color if you're doing a black and white interior on the pages, but remember we're up here on the cover, so I can change this to whatever you want. There's a little pipette here, so let's say I want the background color to be this green. Boom, there you go, right? Everything is completely saved. And let's just say that that's our cover, right? I'm not going to put too much effort into this unless you guys have any specific questions, but there's really, really a lot that you can add here. So we've just added a front cover page, and maybe we want to add some text. We've added a lot of different text options in here. You have headings, regular text, circle text, bridge text, and text with variants. I know a lot of people have been asking me, when are we going to get circle text that actually, you know, functions with the curvature properly? So let me just show you how that works. So once you have a layer or an object here on the screen, and you see you have these little chat bubbles, I'm going to turn those off just so they don't get in the way. Once something is selected here, okay, so you can see it's selected on my screen, you'll have a new menu at the top, and there's so much you can do with this. So I'm just going to put in some text here, and I don't know, what should I say? This is a live call, all right? Oops. Let's do that again. This is a live call. We're going to save that. All right. Now, once you have these text options, you can come in here, and I always change this baseline, and the baseline is where the curvature is going to occur. So right by default, the curvature is going to be curving at the bottom of the text, and if you ever get any weird spacing, you can just change this to the middle of the text, and then everything is going to look how you think that it should look. You can change this from circle to ellipse, all right, but I'm going to keep that at circle. Here's the radius. You spread that out a little bit. You know, you can flip it to where now it's curved on the inside versus outside, and I'm going to keep it like that. All right, so we'll make this a little smaller so you guys can see it, line it up in the middle. Next thing in the menu is the text color. So this is, you know, pretty straightforward here. If you want white, you just pick white. Otherwise, you can play around with any of these colors that you like. but I'm not trying to make an actual cover in this video. So doing something like this makes it readable. Okay, so the next option you have here is the actual background color. Now the background colors on curved text wouldn't recommend, but if you're adding a heading, okay, so check this out. I'm going to change the color of the heading to white. Okay, I'm going to select this. I'm going to change the background color to red. Boom, just like that. The easiest way possible to add like a background to the color to make it readable. Again, you can change anything that you want in here. Now, the other option up here, remember this is the background color. Right next to it, I've gotten a lot of requests for adding different stroke to texts. So this is the stroke menu. All of these can be moved around. Like you can open up all these menus, by the way, and just drag them around the screen depending on how your workflow goes. But I'm going to keep those off the screen for now. But let's say that you want this text to have a black stroke. So you select black and you're like, oh no, why can't I see anything? It's because you actually need to add pixels to the stroke, right? So I can add, I could change this to 10. And just like that, you'll see each letter actually has a stroke to it. So that is the stroke. This is going to work for pretty much any type of text that you use. The next is going to be shadow. So if I want to move back or save anything at any point, you just hit this save button. Otherwise, let's say I don't like that stroke, I made a mistake, I want to go backwards, we have this undo and move forward button. So I can hit that, just like that, the stroke is gone. All right, let's keep going down here. The next one is shadow. All right, so let's say I want a red shadow on this, okay? And just like that, by entering in the blur, I can move. So let me zoom in so you guys can see this. I'll move this. So here's the blur option, right? So if you don't want any blur, if you want more blur, notice how that's changing the background as you change it. You can move the shadow anywhere you want, just like that. And you can reset these filters if you want as well. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to move it like this. Maybe I want a little bit more blur so it looks good. Maybe I want it up or down. So really just depends on what you're looking to do. Again, this is movable. Change this to any color you want. The next is going to be the fonts up here. Okay, so we have put in here every single Google font there is. Now, Google fonts are awesome because it allows you to sell commercially without any licenses. You're never going to get in trouble for them. They're completely free for commercial use. So if you just open up a new tab and you type in Google Fonts, I'm going to bring this over so you guys can see it. Okay, so I've brought the Google tab, Google Fonts tab over here. And let's say that, you find one that you want, Ubuntu, you come in here and you can simply search for it. Let's see here. This may be a new one. Let's see if we have an old one in here. Roboto. All right, so Roboto. Click on search. And it looks like I do need to come back and update these to the latest new ones because Google Fonts is always adding a new one in there. But anyways, you can download these to your computer. Come over here, download the family, and then upload them if you want. So there's the My Fonts tab, and you can see I've uploaded a few of them in here. Now, we did just release this. We are still working on a tiny little bit of bugs. They're pretty much almost all gone here. But you need to upload these as .ttf. So if I come over to, I'm going to bring this over so you guys can see it. I just typed in free fonts into Google. You guys are probably aware of this website. 1001 free fonts. You can come down here and let's see. Let's go to the home page here. And I am going to look for like this one right here. Okay, it says it's in the public domain. This one is free, but you need to buy a commercial license. So let's say you like this one. We'll click into this one. It needs to be a .ttf. Okay, so they do have that in here. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. So give me one moment here. Okay, I've downloaded it to my computer. I know you guys can't see that. If I'm in here, I'm going to move this off the screen and then upload it real fast. So I'm going to click upload. I need to find it on my desktop. And again, guys, I know you can't see this. So I'm going to upload that and bring it back. And just like that, we have the text. So if I fit this text to the page, I move this over here and I select this one, it's going to change the text to the new text that we have in there with all of the settings still filled out. All right, I'm going to check the comments, guys, because I know I am talking a lot during this one. Let's see, yes, it does. Wow, so many options. Hello, Neil. Sorry, I'm late. No problem, Shira. These are recorded. Also, we're going to put them inside of BookBolt, so don't worry about it. I have a question about the zoom as well. When I zoom in, it will only zoom into the middle of the project, not in the area I'm working on. So what you want to do for that, let me just answer that question, is if you click Fit down here, bottom of the page, it's going to be like this. It's going to zoom in wherever your cursor is. So if I put this cursor over here and I zoom in, it's going to zoom in on that point. If I put my cursor over here, it's going to zoom into the heading. If I want to zoom into this corner, I just move my cursor over there, and otherwise I just click on Fit, and that's going to fit it to your screen. So that's the easiest way to zoom in, zoom out, is just put your cursor where you want to zoom in. So if I'm working on this text like we just were, I'll zoom in directly to there and select it. Sheila, you may have addressed this already, but how do I see my uploaded images? I don't see them anymore in the upgraded version. So Sheila, we've been pushing a lot of updates to the studio here, so you may need to upload them again, but all the images that you upload are going to be in the left menu. Right here, they're going to look like 2 picture frames. This is going to be the image library. So you can just drag them and drop them into this interface here. You can use Lunapic for that. It's free. Do you know how to do this? Did I miss something, TJ? Oh, yes, TJ. Is there a way to remove the background on an uploaded JPEG? There is. Let me see if I have one that it would work on. And let me just get rid of this. I hate this green color, guys. It's got to change. It's just not good. There we go. Let's see here. So if we add an image, and I need to see if I have an image that has a background. These don't. This one does. Well, so we added a cat. Okay, so here's the cat. Once you have any object added, and I'm going to get rid of this text just so we can talk about this. I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so once you have any object added to the screen, you're going to have different options at the top, right? So depending on what the object is, and this one is an image, it's not a text, you're going to have different options. So you can either crop it. So by cropping it, you just click crop, and then you move this around, okay? You have blend options, so you can select this. You can select a lot of different types of kind of filters and blend options here. You have adjust, okay, so you can make the brightness down, brightness up, contrast, everything like that. These options take a while to play with to get something that looks good. You have the effects right here, okay, so you can actually remove the color, and then I'm going to move this so you guys can see it. So if you want to remove, now this is going to depend on what images you're using, right? So I can set the tolerance and it's going to start removing, although I can set this to, hey, I want to remove that and start removing the tolerance there. Okay, there we go. I've made basically the background. And here, let me change the background to this paper color. All right, so now we've started to remove. Let me open that back up. All right, so, okay, so you can see that the tolerance all the way down looks like this. And let's say you want this black to be gone. You can start moving it slowly, and this is going to do its best to remove the background color or an image of whatever you're using. This is going to depend on what you do now. This is a high quality photograph, right? So it's not always going to be perfect. You might want to recolor this cat's eyes and crop this out, if you will. But this works a lot better if you're using some, graphics that aren't photographs, if you will. But that is how you would remove the color, is once you have an image or a photograph or a design, you'd come up here to the effects. Okay, and there's a lot of different effects. Some of them have options in here. So ones that have options will have these little sliders over the top of them. Okay, so grayscale is one of them. I'll just deselect that. Boom, removes all the colors. So super easy if you're doing interiors that, hey, you don't want to pay for a colored interior. Boom, you just make it grayscale. Okay, so a bunch of different options in here. You can make these look crazy if you want, right? Notice how these are all selected at the same time. You don't have to do that. Now there's only one selected, etc., etc. What's the file type again? So Glenda, if you upload a file inside of the image library here, PNG, JPEG, SVG. That's pretty much the ones that you want to deal with. Perfect. Zoom issue address. Perfect. The little white kitty is my notebook. This one, I pulled this image, I think, from Pixabay. Or that's your kitty. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let's keep going here because I want to show you in that same menu. I'm just going to add this design, okay? So this is the one I use for a lot of different, tutorial videos. If you have a design that has thick outlines to it, like this one, okay? So notice how there's no thick outlines on the text. There's thick outlines to the actual image. You'll see up here, next to effects, you have this little outline image thing. You can press that, and what it's going to do is essentially turn these things into coloring book pages, okay? This right here is huge, especially if you're having outlined graphics for, say, your cover or your interior, and you want to basically, create a coloring book page out of it. That is how you do that. Now, if I want to step back, I'm like, hey, I don't really like that. I just hit the undo button. But in order for that to work, guys, you have to have a dark, thick outline from the actual image. These don't need to be SVG files. If you come in here, you'll notice this is a PNG file. So that's pretty cool. I've been using that a lot here. To the right of this, don't worry too much about this. This is to connect the puzzles. We're still working on that. But, stroke colors, all of that. We have, let's see here. If I go, we have the position and size. You're more than likely going to be moving things around the screen. But if I zoom in, notice how these left, right, and center are going to move depending on where I move this layer on the page. Now, the big thing that I've been doing when coming to create not really covers so much, but interiors, and I'll show you on the cover here how this works, is let's say you're creating an interior, which we're going to go over in 1 second, but the opacity, I can just change this and turn it way down, which I've been putting behind my interior pages. So let's say you come in here, you create your cover, you have your interior of puzzles or line pages or something. You put something in the background, it really helps set your product off from what other people are doing. So I'm just going to kick that back up here. Look at the comments again. You can make your own images in Procreate. We can turn them into coloring pages. Absolutely. Jay Lang, nice. I am my imagination. Can you upload graphics, animated pics from places like Pixabay, and this program software can turn them into coloring book images? So yes, if the license allows it, you can upload pretty much any graphics you want. So let's just try that out because I haven't actually done that yet. We'll come up here to the image library. We'll type in, we'll go to the Pixabay tab, and let's just see if we can find something that has, some sort of thing that has an outline that maybe we can try it out with. Let's see here. Any suggestions on what to search for? I haven't even searched for anything. Let's see if I can find something in here. Maybe I'll just type in clip art. See what comes back. All right, this one might work. Now, I'm not saying to use this smiley thing, so don't get mad at me if I'm using this as an example, but I've imported something here. I'm going to click that outline button, and there you go. Okay, so yeah, you might need to come in here and change a few things, but yes, looks like that definitely can work. That being said, if you're going to create coloring book pages, I highly recommend that you either upload your own in here. I wouldn't just take a bunch of free images and do this with. Probably not the best idea long term. The Vic Chick, before you go on to the interior, when I finished my project and uploaded it to PDF, my cover was blank. So, the Vic Chick, I haven't actually run into that. We've been fixing a lot of bugs on this. What you'd want to do is, and again, guys, let me just fit this to the page so you guys can see it. When you're done and you're going to upload to KDP, you'd come up to Project. I would download this. You can download it as an RGB cover, or project rather, or a CMYK. Now, when you download these, these are going to download the entire project as one project in a zip file. Okay, if you're not familiar with what a zip file is, it's basically a way to make the file smaller so that it can download on your computer. You need to unzip the file and move those somewhere so you can then upload them to Amazon KDP. So if you've downloaded one of your projects and you're coming up with something that's blank, please put in a help ticket. So if you go to help right here, submit a help ticket with the screenshots of everything. And if you come to the project, I need to see a screenshot so we can show an engineer of the project ID, okay? And then we will take a look at that. So let's see here. That pretty much covers the uploads. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so here's all the uploads. And once you select something from the Pixabay tab, if you do, they'll come over here and you can just delete them from here if you want to make sure this is all searchable and everything like that. All right, let's see. I don't like that guy. We're going to get rid of him. We're going to save that. I'm going to put something on the page here. All right. So, I should go over this. So let's make this guy a little bit smaller here. Okay. And we have some other options here. We have this, which is make a pattern. Okay, so people have been asking me about these patterns. You can create a pattern with whatever object is selected. So notice I added an object. And now I'm click the pattern button. It's going to say, hey, do you want to create a pattern with those objects? We do. Okay. So we've added that. And notice how this little pattern is here. And I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see it. If I make it bigger, boom. Okay. Big pattern. Large pattern. I'm going to fit that to the page again. Okay. I can put that. I'm just going to move it to the side. There you go. Now, once you have the pattern selected, notice the object over here says it's a pattern. You can then have the new tabs. Every time an object is selected, you have a new menu here. So the pattern options, again, I can move these around, scroll in so you guys can see it. There are different pattern types in here. So let's say you like this one, looks probably the best. You can scale them up. You can scale them down so they look ridiculous. You can change the width of the pattern. Okay, you can reset that. Oh my God. Okay, so let's cancel that out. Boom. Back here, you can add padding. Okay, so every single little thing in here is pretty much customizable to make sure that you guys can actually create things that are unique from everybody else. Let's see here. I remade it today from scratch and I did the same thing. Yeah, the VicCheck, will you send me a message or a help ticket so I can look into that? Does KDP now allow you to upload one file that includes the cover and the interior altogether? They do not, Carla, but when you download this, which I'll show you here in a minute, it will actually download as one file, but it's going to be a zip file. Inside of that zip file, you're going to see the cover and the interior. Okay, so here is my little pattern here I created. And now you have an actual book with a pattern that you can move around and resize, etc., etc. But if you don't like it, you can always delete it by hitting the backspace button. You can come over here and delete it this way, right here. Okay. So that's going to be the patterns. Now again, let's add a few more things here. I'm going to add this little guy. Actually, you know what? Let's do this with text. So I'm going to add a heading, and let's see. I'm going to say 4th of July. Let's see here. 4th of July. All right, so we have some text here, right? One of the big things I know a lot of people do is they actually mask text on their design. So let's go ahead and figure out. We'll find a flag in here. Okay, here's a flag. So I'm going to add this flag. I'm going to put that over the text, and I'm going to come over here to the mask option. Okay, so you need to select the image you want to mask. So notice this is the layer I'm going to mask. This is the image I want to mask. If you need to know how it works, you just click on here. But this is the text I want to mask, and then create the mask. So let me try that again. So I've selected this. Okay, we'll open this up. Let me get rid of this and discard that. Okay. Come to the mask. Okay, and how it works, we're going to click that. So first, make sure the object you want to mask is selected. So that looks like what I messed up before. You can do this in the object menu on the right side of your screen. So notice how it is selected. After that, come back to the menu. Okay. Yep. So we are going to put this over the top. We're going to select that, and we are going to create the mask. And it looks like live on camera, I found another bug, so I will get that fixed, guys. But yes, that is the way that it should work. Okay, so let's try that one more time. We're going to discard the mask. We're going to select this. We're going to select this. Okay, select this and do that. Yep, so I found a bug live on screen. Awesome. You see, we've been fixing these for the last couple of months, but this will be fixed relatively quickly. So let's get rid of that, save this, and let's add something else here. We'll get rid of this, and we'll put this back on the cover. All right, let's just say that this is our cover. We'll make this dark. There we go, okay? Cover done. Last thing down here are different effects. You can play with these. We have a bunch of new ones in here. These are going to be a lot of distressed effects, but that's fairly straightforward. Let me check the comments again. Let's see. Karen, do you recommend CMYK over RGB? Not sure which one to pick. Yes, Karen, for the most part, if you go to, let me find it here, CMYK. I need to find the page on KDP. So I'm just looking at this. Let me bring it over here so you guys can see it. Right here, create a paperback cover, blah, 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 blah. Image should be in CMYK colors. And then this says, you know, Kindle does not support CMYK color space for the image guidelines, cover guidelines. So it's going to depend on what you are uploading. So come in here to their help center and just look at the, you know, the paperback covers and the interiors to make sure you're uploading the right ones. But right here, if you're creating a cover, you're using images, and it's a paperback book, then CMYK is probably what you want to pick. Let's see, how do you upload your own interior pages with this new designer? So you just take the interior pages that you have, you'd come over to Files, and you would put them right here. Just drag them and drop them into this screen. So that is probably the easiest way to upload files ever. So let's actually get on to the interior. So I'm going to click down and notice, so like you have the cover and you have every single interior page, and these interior pages, they're all going to download in one project. So you don't have to jump back and jump forward and go in and out of different pages like we were doing like this. You can do this all inside of the studio. So you can change the paper colors for these. You can add grid lines to these individual pages. So if I wanted to add some lines here, if I wanted to move the lines up and down, you can do that. But I'm going to remove those grid lines just so you guys can see this. And this is the easiest, literally the easiest thing ever. If you come over to the page templates, notice how we have skipped this little puzzle looking thing, okay? These are going to be the page templates. If you click on these, you're going to see the interior templates library. A lot of these are going to have multiple different variants, okay? We've tagged some of these. So if you have a pro level account and you're looking to create puzzles, you have all these different puzzle types in here. We have different mazes in here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these are completely customizable. So for example, let's just start off by selecting a circular maze. Okay, once you select a template, which I just did, here is your entire project. You see every single page. So instead of going and adding a page and moving a page here and moving a page over there, you just say, hey, I want, and you'll see the current pages selected because that's the one I have clicked. You can even pick page 2. You just click on these. You can select them all, but that's going to select the cover. So you can deselect the cover. You can deselect all, select even, select odd. So I'm going to deselect all and just do page 1, but this is going to allow you to basically go through really quickly, rapid fire, and create the interiors you want, okay? So I'm going to do just one maze here, and I'm going to click next. And then this is going to allow you to customize pretty much everything from the margins on the top, the bottom, the left, the right. But you're going to have different options here below the margin options depending on what you pick. Okay, so I'm not going to select anything because I want you guys to see what it looks like by default. Okay, so the stroke width of 4 pixels. This can be changed inches, centimeters. Pixels is pretty universal. Here's the line color. It's like a grayish with a cell count of 10. Okay, I'm not going to change anything besides that. And there is your maze. Okay, so that's number 1. I'm going to save this so we can reference this one. I'm going to do the same thing but change a few options moving forward. So we're going to go to page 2. We're going to go to the interior templates library, select maze, select the circular maze. Again, here's the one that's selected, so I'm going to click it. Click next. And now I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I want that stroke width to be 10 pixels. I'm going to change the line color to, now remember, we're doing a black and white interior. Otherwise, if you were doing a colored interior, I mean, you can make them red if you want. So I'm going to do black, select OK. And now let's say, you want a maze for adults, not kids. So maybe you type in 25 into the cell count, you click submit. And now notice how everything is much thicker. It's a lot harder versus this. So you'll see the previews start to show up here. Now again, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to save it real quick. Come back in here, select maze, select this one. I'm going to keep that stroke width. Maybe I'll keep the same color. Actually, maybe I'll just make it black so you guys can see it. And now I want a cell width of, say, 50. And this is going to get, really, really big. So if I zoom in here, I can see the actual maze and what it looks like. Now, if I select the actual thing afterwards, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to change the color. I want to do something like that. Again, once an object is selected, new menu items are up here. So I can say, you know what, I really want a blue maze, or, I really want a red maze. But again, this needs to match up if you're doing a black and white interior. You don't want to pay KDP to print in color, so I'd probably keep it black, maybe a little less black, so on and so forth. So that's going to be how to create, different mazes in this case, but I'll delete that. I'll save this, and I can show you guys a few more of these. So I'll come in here. One of the most well-used interiors are going to be the lined pages, the journal pages. You'll notice these have variants. So when we clicked on a maze, there's a preview page. If we go back to this, we'll notice that here we go. This one has 3 variants. So we can click on this, and you'll see you have narrow ruled, college ruled, and wide ruled. So which one do you guys want me to pick while I look at comments here? I love that. It makes cloning so easy as well. Yeah, the VicChick, I need to show off how to do those cloned pages here in a second. Shira, this is so cool. I can't wait to try this all out. Does it create a solution to put in the back of the book? So Stephanie, there's no solutions yet for the mazes, but there are solutions for the other puzzles. We are working on the maze solutions right now, actually. I saw the icon yesterday, started using it. It's awesome. Honestly, I believe it can get rid of a few other expensive subscriptions. Awesome. Yeah, we have spent forever, we took all the feedback we've gotten over multiple years and put it all into this tool. So I'm really hoping you guys get a lot of use out of this. But let's keep going here. I'm just going to pick one random one here. So let me go back. Let me just get out of this. We'll go back into it, okay? So you'll notice that every single one of these, I mean, there's so many different interiors in here. I'm going to just select a normal ruled page. Okay, so we click in here, you have narrow ruled, college ruled, and wide ruled. Some of these have different variants like I was just describing. So if we wanted, say, a narrow ruled page, we'd simply click that. And again, this is going to allow us to put it on whatever page you wanted. If you wanted to put it in the entire book, okay, so let me just show you. Let me actually do this. I am going to create a new project. I'm going to do just an interior, live call interior. Okay, I'm going to select this, bleed, 100 pages, create project. Notice I don't have a cover page now. So now I'm going to show you how to do this extremely easy. You want 100 pages inside of your interior? Let's do it. Ruled page, I'm going to select narrow ruled. I'm going to select every single one of them. Okay, notice no cover page is selected. Click on next. Now I can add margins at the top or bottom. Let's say I wanted, half of it to be blank, you just add a margin at the top. Let's say you wanted less space between the lines, you would change this. You want the lines to be larger than normal, you just change this. You want your colors to be different, you change this. Okay, so boom, I'm just going to do black, change nothing else. Click on submit here, and there you go. 1 page, 2 page, literally the entire thing, and then you would just download this to your computer. Okay, so then you can zoom in and see what those look like. Now, just to show you how these can be changed, this is what the page 1 looks like. Okay, I'm going to go to page 2. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to select that same one just to show you guys what this looks like. So I'm going to pick just page 2 this time. Okay, I'm going to change the line color to black, the stroke width of, say, 5. Actually, I didn't click on OK. All right, and now let's say you wanted a 4-inch margin at the top. You would submit that, and there's your 4-inch margin. Notice how your line, I'll zoom in here so you can see it, your lines are different thicknesses than this and a different color, and you have that margin. So every single piece of this is completely customizable, okay? These are all, you can move these around if you want. You can make them smaller if you want. Whatever you guys want to do in here, you can do that. So I'll just go ahead and delete that. I am going to open back up my other project, which was this one. Okay, so notice I have my saved one in here. I had deleted this puzzle, but you can come in here and change every single one of these. Now I know someone did ask about some of these puzzles, so let's go to word puzzle. Some of these, let's do Mindfinder for example, because this doesn't require me to upload a file. If you're doing something like a crossword puzzle, okay, and I'll just show you this because I don't have one ready on my computer. But let's say I want a crossword puzzle on page 2. I'd select that, or maybe I want it on these 4 pages or 5 pages rather. You just select them. And then on this page, you'll notice again the margins. You have different fonts in here. That's been something that's definitely been asked for. You have stuff for font sizes. Okay, so everyone who's been emailing me upset that there's no font sizes, here they are. Okay, font color, stroke width. But here you have the word. So each one of the puzzles that requires user input, okay, every puzzle that requires user input is going to have something that looks like this. You need to upload a CSV file, and we have an example right here. So you can click on the example, which will download that to your computer, and you can open that up, fill it out with your own, okay, fill it out with your own words so everything is unique, and then you'll have different options down here. Add clues, solutions, here's the solutions someone asked for, use the random words or sentences. But since I don't have one of those going, let's pick a puzzle like a Mindfinder, again, page 2, okay? So we can leave everything the same. You have different board sizes in here. So let's say I want to do a 16 by 16. I can add the solution and click on submit. Okay. So here is page 1. Okay. And then if you go down to page 3, you will actually have the solution filled out. So what the software does when you click add solutions is it will add everything page by page. So let me just demonstrate that for you. I'll get rid of these, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so now we have page 2, page 3, page 4. Everything's blank except for the first page, right? So let's go in here, word puzzle. We'll select Mindfinder. Let's say I want 1, 2, and 3. So page 2, page 3, page 4 of this puzzle. We're going to keep everything the same. We're going to add the solutions. And now, here's page 2. Here's page 3. Here's page 4. So you'll have each page be a puzzle, and if you click that add solutions button, they will be right here. Okay, so for the next 3 pages. So that is how the actual solutions work. Let me check the comments again. This is fantastic. You guys added some amazing features. Awesome. We're still working on some stuff, but I think this is going to speed up your entire, KDP business by like 10x. Let's see here. Neat. Does the lifetime also include this new features? Millie, absolutely. So anyone right now, and we haven't sent out an email yet, but if you come into Bookbowl here and you just open up the designer in the drop-down menu here, okay, it'll be right here. For anyone who is lost because you showed up a little bit late, there's a big red button. Click that button, and it's going to bring you over to the studio. Neil, is there a way to change the page count? If you choose 24 pages but then need 30, I know you can add a page, but how would you change the dimensions of the book and make it bigger? So TJ, excellent question. So there is a bit of an issue with what you're asking. The problem is, when it comes to KDP, each one of these pages, right? That's why you have, odd pages, even pages. They're each going to have different margins when you print and put the book together. Okay, so you can add extra pages in here. That being said, if you are going to, you select 24 pages, you need 30, okay? What you want to do is create a new project. And let me just show you how this works, right? So let's say that you have this page right here. and you need to upload all of these pages into a new project, what you want to do is go to Page, and then you want to save this as a file. Now, if you download an actual project, you're going to have all of these files laid out for you, and these files are only going to work with the designer, okay, the studio here. These are going to be JSON files. But if you go ahead and you save this one as a file, notice it's JSON, and then you'd have to go create a new project in the right dimensions, and then you would upload that. So let's just say, for example, this one is gone. Okay, so we'll just delete that. Pretend this is a new project. You then come to Page, and then you would load from the file, and you would load this, which will upload that exact file into the correct dimension project that you just created. So, I mean, that is a little bit of a workaround, but the reason for that, and the reason that, you know, it's really difficult to do all of that with software is because depending on how many pages your book is, depending on if it's page 1 or page 2, so even or odd, there's going to be different dimensions because of the way KDP prints things. Let's see, whereabouts in Washington? Can you put in auto page numbering? Karen, okay, so check this out, right? Notice how I have a blank page here. I have a page 2, and even though I've added a Mindfinder page, okay, let's say I wanted to include page numbers. Okay, that's another thing. I'm glad you asked about it. You'd come up here, okay, so I'm going to select page 1. You'd come up here to page templates, and right here you have a blank page with page numbers. Okay, so you'd want to build out your interiors, okay? And let's say I want page 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to have page numbers. Otherwise, you could just select them all. You'll see you have fonts, and right here, this is already pre-filled. You can put the page numbers left, center, or right. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to click Submit here. There you have page 1. Remember we had that puzzle on page 2? It's still there. There's the page number, okay? We can select that. We could edit the text if you wanted. Okay, you could be like page, wow. And there you go. You can change the color of each one if you wanted. Every little thing like that, completely customizable. And you're still going to have the actual puzzles on the page, just like this. That's just going to insert. And if you go to page 3 here, you see there's page 3. It's just going to insert the actual page numbers into this page here. Oh, something else I need to bring up here is, let's say I'm on page 6, has a solution. Let's see, page 7, page 8. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and let's say I add some text in here. Live text. All right, so just as an example, I can save this. And let's say I put a lot of effort into this. You know, this page is really complicated. I know it's not. I just put one piece of text here. And you want to clone it to another page. You can right-click on this, and you can say, you know what? I want this page to be, here's the current one, on this one and this one. And I can clone that. It's going to say, hey, are you sure all these pages are going to be replaced? Yes, we're sure. And just like that, the same page is cloned to multiple different pages. So that literally, instead of having to rebuild everything and realign everything, especially if you're using grid lines, right, it's going to apply the exact same page objects to everything else in here. Okay, let's see. What else do I have to show off before we finish this up? We've almost gone an hour already, so I'm going to save this. And let's see here. We went over some interiors. We have all these different types of puzzles in here. Kakuro puzzles. I know these have been, people have asked for these a lot. I'm going to put this, actually, let me get rid of this text first. Okay, we'll save that. I'll come back in here. Word puzzle, Kakuro, this page, next. And again, let's say we want this font. We want this color to be black. All right, stroke width, board size 15 by 15. Submit, and there you go. You can move these around the page. You can move them to the bottom if you want. And then I think we'd put a solution in there. Maybe, no, I guess we did not. So if this one right here, right, let's just say we're looking at this and we're like, you know what, I really want to change some of these arrows. Not liking those. I can come up here and change the color to black. Okay, notice the arrows, I can change them to blue. And the lines, because those are the same colors. This is color 1. Let's see. This is color. Which color is this? Color 3. Oh, yeah, so that's going to be the numbers. Otherwise, if you have something that you've imported that has more than, I believe it's 8 colors in here, you would come up here and you just click the replace color. And this is going to allow you to pick from other pieces on your actual template, depending on what you're building, and then change those out. So I can, select that color right there, and I can change that and play around with these different options. But this is going to work if you have more than, I believe it's 8 colors on your page, okay? Which we don't. So otherwise, you just use these replace color filters right at the top, but pretty simple. Now that looks absolutely horrible, so I am going to delete that and save it. Now, let me show you what these look like if you download them. Okay, so I'm going to go to project. I'm going to download this, and once you download this, or actually before we download it, you can rename the project, you can delete the project, or you can clone this over to another page. If you're creating things maybe in a series, that would be a really good option, or you can simply download this. So when I download this, you'll see that it is saving all these pages. This can take some time depending on what you have put inside of all of this, okay? Otherwise, you can click on cancel. Let me see if I have one of these on my desktop here while this is working. Let's see. I am not seeing one. So we're going to cancel that out. Let's see if I go to my projects. Maybe I'll do this one. And let's see if I can download this one. So preparing project here. And this does take a little bit of time creating the PDF pages. I may have this open in another thing, but there you go, creating a project archive. So it is actually creating all of these. And once this is done, it'll download here and I will show you what it looks like. So there we go. And give me one moment to pull this up. I know you can't see this. So let's see here. All right, just moving things around on my desktop, so I apologize. So it downloads as, I'm going to drag it over here so you can see it. It downloads as a zip file. Okay, so I'm going to unzip that on my computer. Let me bring this over so you guys can see it. Now this is not unzipped yet, but I'm going to bring it over here. Okay, so move that so you guys can see this. Notice how when you download the zip file, one, you need to unzip this, but you're going to have 3 different things on the screen. One is that sources file. Okay, so if I click that, every single page and your cover in here, so notice how these have names on them, can be uploaded directly to the studio, which I'm not even sure where I put that yet. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I have too many things open right now. Here's the studio. I'll just bring this back. Refresh that page. So we are in here, cancel. So if you, let me open that file again. If we're in the sources, okay? So these source files right here. These source files can be uploaded by going to page and loading them from the file. Okay, so that's going to basically recreate page by page if you need to from this sources file. Otherwise, you have the 2 paperbacks. Now we've changed this because I know a lot of people ask for it. In the old Designer, just download it as a random string. When these download, you'll notice that this is a paperback cover. Okay, you'll see exactly the name of the project. You'll see the size, how many pages, the bleed settings. So this is there to help you match this up when you are uploading to KDP. So you'll have the paperback cover and the paperback interior. And if I just open these up real quick, let me bring it over so you guys can see it. Notice how this is the actual PDF file. All I did was click to open it. And this is what you want to upload to Amazon KDP. Same thing for the interior. So I'll go ahead and close that out. I need to bring back open the YouTube studio here. Awesome. I have to go. Thank you for your time. It looks amazing. Good luck, Stephanie. Hopefully you guys are using this soon. Who do we contact for technical issues? So Trini, if you run into any issues while using the studio, I want you to go to help right here and submit a help ticket. And when you do that, I want you to include a screenshot of this. Under project, we need to see your project ID here so that we can actually figure out what's going on. So guys, we just made it to an hour. I know I've talked a bunch. I've skipped a lot of stuff. I've tried to cover as much as I possibly can. I'm going to open up a YouTube here, read through some comments, but we can also go over this next week as well. But I really hope that this helps you guys a lot creating and publishing on KDP. It's going to be a lot faster, a lot easier process. It's going to allow you to customize pretty much everything that you want. Rachel Neal, I love the new designer. Thank you for continually making Book better. Absolutely. That's what is blank when I upload. So the VicChick, once you download that file and you unzip it, is it blank when you open the PDF on your computer? Or is it blank when you upload to KDP? That is, because if it's blank when you download it to your computer, chances are we push an update. You might need to recreate it, but send us that help ticket so we can take a look. Karen, I don't know if you can answer this question. Why is it that when I put in a request to reset my password, nothing comes to my email? Karen, the biggest thing that you probably need to do is when you go to reset your password, check your spam and your junk folder. Otherwise, put in a help ticket because we'll have to get that reset manually from an engineer. Trinity, thanks, Neil. I enjoy using this new platform while it was in beta. Awesome. Both, yeah. So the VicChick, please. Well, two things actually. First is create a brand new project with different images. It could be that the images you're using are somehow causing an issue, and see if that will download properly. If not, again, send us that help ticket so we can take a look. But yeah, guys, that is going to be, we're going to wrap this up right now. There's a lot in here. We have just released this. I haven't actually sent an email. If you run into any like actual bugs, okay, please do let us know. We've been fixing these for like the last couple of months. Things do come up. We will get them fixed. But pretty much this is ready to rock and roll. Start creating your projects, publishing them to KDP. I think you're going to find this a lot more useful than the old designer in the past. So let me guys know if you have any other questions real quick in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to finish this up. What is the PDF limit to upload for interiors? Jay Lang, I believe that's 30 right now, simply because with everyone uploading a bunch of stuff and starting to use this, we don't want to bog down the server too bad. So is this going to be a problem in the future that when you do updates, our projects will be lost? Karen, no, these are going to be completely saved. So just so you can see, if I go to my projects, I actually created these quite a while ago. They're still in here. I can still load them in, so no issue there. And again, this is not going to, like, all this stuff's not going to be removed if your cookies and cache get cleared out. So that is also good news. Thanks, great so far. Trini, how to let you know about bugs, same help ticket method. Yes, that'd be super helpful. I had 130 and I think it said too large. So Jay Lang, that's also a good point. Let's say you have an interior and it's all the same, or you have like 30 pages that are the same. What you can do is actually just upload a single page of that PDF, and then what you do is actually right click it and then clone that one page. So you'd come in here to the right here, the image library. You can upload the stuff here, your one page, add the one page. Once it's added, okay, so let's just say this is your page. And guys, look, I put something in the background and I made it super transparent. So I know we didn't go over that today, but let's say you added your one page, you'd right click, you'd clone this page to the others, and that's going to be way less strain on the server and a lot easier for you to actually create versus uploading all of that, because if you upload all that, this is going to get super jumbled. Are you going to have points size for fonts? So if you add a font here, let me just go back to another project so we can actually see. Let's see. Where's the one I was working on? Here we go. So if you're on this one and you have a font in here, what you can do is, where do we put that? I think it's right here. So notice if I change this, it's going to change the scale. The reason for that we don't have, say, point sizes like 13 font or whatever is it's going to depend on what type of text you're using, number one, but number two, what size your book is, right? Because everything needs to be scalable and readable. And then once you're done creating this, it creates as a PDF file. So you can come in here, and again, if you wanted to clone this, I mean, you can literally just copy paste and have two of the same thing. So once you get the sizing right, you can come in here and either copy and paste it. You can do this over here. You can create different folders and group them together if you want. Rachel King, Neil, the masks works. You had the layers in the wrong order. All right, let's try that again before we finish, because apparently I'm talking too fast here. So if I add a text, all right, so there we go, added text. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna type in flag. We're gonna put the flag in here. All right. And let's see. So I need to select this one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so then you'd come in here, you'd select mask, and let's see. There you go, right? So, Rachel, thank you for pointing that out. Apparently, I'm talking too quickly for my own good, but that is how you create a mask. So again, guys, let me just go over that again because I pointed out earlier that we found a bug. Turns out I'm just wrong. So that happens. So what we did here is we added a piece of text, okay? We came in here, we added a flag to the text. We selected what we want to mask. So notice how on the right-hand side here, the text in the background is selected. Then you would come over to mask. You would select what you have over top of it, and then you would create the mask. So thank you again, Rachel. That was my mistake. Are you logging the new book bowl? Bugs, problems in your bug composition notebook. Thanks, Neil, for the great system. Not in that notebook, but we are trying to fix as many things as we can. You guys should have seen the list that we were going through as we were working through it. It was ridiculously long, but pretty much all of that is gone. There's just a few little things that we are still working on. But anyways, guys, we are coming to the end. We've been on for over an hour. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I hope you guys like this. Start creating some cool things inside of the studio. And again, I do want to point out that the link is in the old designer. We will begin phasing this out fairly soon, so please don't be reluctant to change. I've already gotten one very nasty email, but I think it's going to be everything that you guys have asked for and a little bit more. So let me know how it goes for you. We can go over this more next week. If you have any questions or concerns, write them down so we can go over on a live call. It should help everyone. Thanks again for sticking around to the end, and I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks.